Hey everybody, it's Tim from Linessa Farms, Specialty and Heirloom Livestock. Thanks for joining us again today. Today we are talking about breeds and how much do they really matter when you're raising your animals for meat production. Stay tuned to find out more. All right, so I wanted to talk with you in the shop really quick before we actually look at the animals. So we're going to look at 4 different animals today. All of these were born in and or around January. I can't give you exact dates, but we'll say that they were born within about a week of each other. And they're actually 4 different breeds. We raise lots of different breeds on this farm, primarily because we like to show lots of different animals, and we also like to breed a lot of different types together to get what's called hybrid vigor, which we talk about in other videos. So today we're talking about lambs specifically. And why is this important? Well, you have what's called feed to growth ratio. And what the feed to growth ratio is simply the amount of feed divided by the number of days of age of the animal. And this will give you a number, and this will tell you about. The other thing you can do is you can take, another way to figure this out is to take, if let's say you don't know how much feed you've given them, if you know how much you're going to get a certain number. If you don't know the amount of feed that you've been giving them, but you know you're feeding them all the same, you can say you can take the weight of the animal, so pounds of animal, and you can divide that by number of days old, and that'll give you a pound per day ratio. We like to see numbers above, at least above 1.0. If you've got an animal that's putting on less than a pound a day in the first 6 weeks of life to 8 weeks, then you're doing pitiful as far as growing for meat is concerned. We're talking about meat today. These are meat animals. If you're raising animals just for fun, just for pets, or for specialty markets like wool, then that's fine. But what we're concerned about with our animals is feed to growth ratio, like how much are these animals putting away. This is not really very accurate because with the free choice creep, you know, they can be in there just eating all that they want. This is really better if you can narrow this down, and it is very difficult to do. But essentially we want to know, like, how fast is this animal going to grow? How much carcass can we get? And what you're going to notice when we look at the 3 different breeds today is don't get super hung up on the what they look like. You know, some of them are going to have a little bit longer legs than the other, but all 3 of the lambs that we look at today are going to be relatively within about 10 or 15 pounds of each other. The length of loin is going to be pretty much similar, and the hip width is going to be pretty much similar, and we're actually going to measure that together. And so you're going to see 3 different types, and we're going to see the Southdown, a Southdown wether. That's just a castrated male. He'll be the first one we look at. The second one we'll look at will be a pulled Dorset wether. And then the third one that we're going to look at will be a blackface cross. Wether. And I suspect what we'll find is the Southdown will look the smallest, the blackface will look the largest, and the pulled Dorset will be somewhere in the middle. And the reality of it is all 3 of them are going to be fairly similar to one another. This one's going to be the blackface is going to be a little taller, and you're going to find that the pulled Dorset actually has a little bit more width in his hip, and the Southdown's going to be kind of a happy medium. Very close to the Dorset, but not quite at Dorset. So this one's going to look taller, but we're not going to let that fool us too much, because the length of loin, the length of this guy's back from... So what we're going to look at is we're actually going to look, I'm going to measure this on all of these animals, and I'm going to measure from the back of their neck to the dock of their tail. And these should be about equal. If anything, we want the back a little bit longer than their height, but they should be about equal. What you're probably going to find is a black face is going to be about equal. When we look at their back end, we're also going to measure this right here and see how wide they are. And what you're going to find is the Dorset's going to be a little bit wider, but they're all going to be pretty comparable to each other. And then we're going to go out in the field and we're going to show you one of our female range sheep, like we're talking like range sheep from out west, and show you what she looks like. And I think you're going to be shocked. So let's head out and start taking a look at our animals. All right, so here we are, we're out here. We've got 3 of our males. These are all actually weathered males, but I wanted to show you the difference. Again, we're talking same age, roughly, fed pretty much the same, but we've got 3 separate breeds out here. And so you can see the difference between the 3 of them. The first one here we've got is a Southdown. This one's Yoda. To give you an idea of what we're sitting at the hip, he's sitting at about 22.5 inches at the hip. From the back of the neck to his dock, he's at about 22.5 inches high. So he's about 22.5 tall and about 22.5 high. And again, he's a Southdown. When we move down to our Dorset, this is our Dorset male, I believe. What's his name? Wayne. This is Wayne. So Wayne's sitting a little bit higher. He's at a slight incline, but I'm going to guesstimate him to be at about 24 inches tall. And his length, he's going to be about 25. So, yeah, about 24 high and about 25 long. And again, I'm measuring from the back of the neck to the dock. Carcass-wise, very, very comparable. So these two are very comparable. Obviously, the Southdown's got a little bit better wool on him. The Southdown's hip is going to be a little bit more narrow. He's at about 8-inch wide on his hip, and Wayne here is almost at 11 inches wide at his hip. So big difference. Now we get into the blackface cross, and you see we've got this huge jump in size. And again, you know, about the same age. These are all early January lambs. So this guy here is going to be sitting at almost 29 inches high on his hip. And from the back of his neck to his dock, he's about 29.5. So you're starting to see, as far as uniformity goes, what we want to see, you'll notice that at the back of the hip and the length to look symmetrical. They should be about as long from the back of the neck to the end of the dock as they are in the length there at the back. To put it into perspective here, he's actually a little bit more narrow than our Dorset. He's at about 11 inches wide, but he'll fill out. So again, we've got these 3 born about the same time, fed about the same. And then we're looking at, okay, what are you getting feed conversion wise? What are you getting bang for your buck? Don't get too confused at the fact that one's taller than another. When we look at actual length of loin and we look at thickness of loin, you know, they're all fairly close to one another. This guy's a little bit longer, but for what he has in length, this guy makes up for in width. So although, you know, on the hoof, they look to be completely different from one another. The point that I'm trying to make is they're all actually very similar. Now, with that being said, I have a special treat for you guys that I wanted to show you that may shock you, but let's go take a look at that really quick. It's Tim. Do you like my sweatshirt? I know you do. Hey, you can go on ruralbling.com, check out in the description below, and get one of these bad boys for yourself. Super comfy, keep you nice and warm, especially up here in Indiana where it doesn't get warm outside until mid-May. All right, so here we are, and I know what you're thinking, but yeah, January lamb. So what you have here, this is a Rambouillet Columbia cross, and there are, I know what some of you are thinking, well then this is what I need. Probably not. The reason that this animal is so big is because of the stock that it comes from. This is a range animal, actually out west, and she is a January baby, and she is huge. So this is a lamb. A couple things to consider: much harder to handle. By the time she gets to be an adult, me trying to keep a handle on her is going to be difficult. Within reason, she's going to do what she wants to do. The other thing is, she puts away a ton more feed. So while you are getting more of an animal for your money, I guess, they're harder to handle. They require bigger facilities, the whole 9 yards. Just to give you an idea, I don't recommend these for the novice. Just to give you an idea of where we're at about 34 inches high, give or take, and we're probably at about the same length. We may even be longer than that. So, and I'm dealing with wool here, so yeah, she's almost 3 foot long from the back of her neck to the end of her dock right now. So, and again, January baby. So huge difference. But again, require huge, strong facilities, require experienced handlers, and require more feed. So again, not necessarily the easiest thing to go for. For those of you that are experienced, this may be something that you want to look at. So with that being said, let's head back into the shop. I hope that was insightful for you. Don't forget to check out all the free stuff we have on our website. Go to www.linessafarms.com and check out all of our downloads and free stuff that we have for you. And yeah, I hope this was insightful for you. I hope it gave you a little bit of insight into how different these animals can look and yet how similar they can be, especially when they're fed about the same and they're raised on the same farm. So with that being said, I can't wait to see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching our channel, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.